to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Today in the rLounge, you know how some people say, I just need a sign? Well, sometimes that might be your stepsister pregnant with your fiancé's baby. Me, 28 female, with my significant other, 28 male. He cheated on me with my stepsister, 27 female, and she's pregnant with his kid. He, Adam, says he was drunk. We've been together for 10 years and finally got engaged and planning on getting married in a year and starting a family in a few years. And she, Betty, took advantage of him. The first time ever. Adam doesn't have an excuse for the handful of other times they slept together over a 3-month period. I knew she was pregnant. I've already been roped by my mom into co-hosting the baby shower with my other stepsister, Claire, 30. I don't know if it's shock or what, but I'm so effing glad I haven't given Claire my share for the expensive jogging stroller we're getting Betty, or my half of the baby shower costs. Betty told everyone the father is an ex-boyfriend who doesn't want anything to do with her or the kid. She makes a ton of money, she'd be fine as a single mother, and my mom would help a ton since she's retired and bored and wants a Duggar family's worth of grandchildren. Adam confessed everything because his dad walked out on him and his mom when he was a toddler, so he wants to be the father to his child, but still be with me because he loves me and made a mistake. I told him to get the F out of my apartment and thank F we don't live together right now. We've lived together previously, but his mom wasn't doing well, so he moved in with her. His mom is fine now, so apparently he used his newfound free time to F my sister. Although a bunch of his crap is all at my apartment because he was supposed to be moving in like a month and was bringing crap over slowly, and called my mom and told her who the real father of Betty's baby is, just because she's my mother and she'll listen to me cry. She effing knew already, Reddit. Apparently, in a fit of sadness over missing her deceased mother, who died when she was like 2, Betty told my mother. They all, Mom, Claire, and my stepfather, have effing known for months. Months! Meanwhile, I'm over here killing myself trying to find the perfect floral arrangement for the tables for Betty's baby shower because I'm trying to be a sister and crap, and being the bigger person because, sure as hell, Betty wouldn't pull half as much effort into my baby shower if I were having one and she was hosting or co-hosting it, or half as much money, even though she makes a crap ton more than me. My own mother couldn't effing tell me that my effing fiancé fathered my effing stepsister's effing baby. No, in fact, she effing guilt-tripped me into being a co-host for the baby shower as soon as she found out Betty was pregnant. I think before she found out Adam was the father. I think. Mom, apparently, well, the general gist is she wants us all to get along and to be a family, and it doesn't matter about the past. It just matters about the new life in the family. That she knows I'm upset and hurt, but I need to work on my relationships with Adam since we've been together for 10 years and I wouldn't want to throw that away over a mistake. And Betty, since we're sisters and have been since we were kids, and figure out how to be the bigger person and put my feelings aside for the sake of the kid and our family. I've always been the bigger person with Betty, from the very moment we were first introduced at the tender ages of 10 and 9, and she refused to give me my favorite stuffed animal back. And even then, Mom felt bad for her and let her get away with being a brat, and she got to take Mrs. Snuffles home while I had to suck it up and be the bigger person. She probably still has poor Mrs. Snuffles in some box in my mom and stepfather's attic, a trophy for her first of many victories over me. I hung up on my mother. And here I am posting on Reddit. I don't want to be Betty's kid's stepmother. I don't think I can forgive Adam. He knows what Betty's like and how our relationship is. Hell, I don't even know if I can forgive my mom. And she's like my mom. She was a great mother, one of my best friends. The only wrong things about her was her nasty habit of pitying Betty and letting her get away with murder and her crappy knitting that she always gives as gifts. I don't know how she can justify this betrayal in any way. It wasn't me that screwed up 10 years of a relationship or mine and Betty's supposed sisterly bond. It was them. Maybe I should talk to her and ask her if someone slipped crazy pills in her food for the last few months. Or maybe she's getting early dementia or something. I don't know. I keep looking at the text messages from Claire she sent my way too effing early this morning, asking when I was giving her my share of the $800 jogging stroller we're getting Betty and my share of the baby shower costs that's going to be worth a crappy Craigslist car. Edit. Is it wrong to reply telling her to go F herself? Because I did. We put all that crap on her credit cards, and she's in school and working a crappy retail job, and I feel bad for her leaving her the huge freaking debt over $3,000. But I keep telling myself she can return the stroller, cancel stuff, sell the stuff that can't be returned, and probably my stepdad and mom will help her with the rest. Another edit. I mass texted our friends telling them that Adam was a cheating bastard who was Betty's baby daddy. We've been together so long that all of our friends are friends with us both. Only the people I'm friends with who aren't friends with him too are basically just acquaintances I don't feel comfortable talking about this with. Then I turned my phone off. I swear to God, if any of them knew or take his side, what if all of them knew? God. Tomorrow my mom's out of the house at her weekly volunteer gig, and I'm going to go over to their house. I have a key, but chances are if my stepdad is home, he'll let me in and go back to watching TV. Great man. My stepsister's got a woman who tried to mother them without replacing their mother, and overcompensating like hell. I got a dude that will occasionally nod at me and sometimes give me a deal on rent when the family plays Monopoly. I've got stuff in the attic that I was keeping it there until I had a house of my own. Plus, I want to find Mrs. Snuffles. Oh, and I'm going to raid my mom's jewelry box, which sounds bad, I know, but I'll only take the stuff my grandmother left me. I promise. I was letting my mom borrow it because I felt bad my grandma willed it all to me and skipped her. Mom's an only child, and figured I'd just get it back when my mom died in 40 years. Which I will freely admit is effing stupid of me, because I could just see Betty whining that she didn't have any grandmothers to leave her jewelry, and that it isn't fair, and probably my grandma knew what she was doing leaving it to me instead. I wish she was alive. She'd tear my mom a new one. Hopefully everything will be there and she won't be wearing anything. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I want it just in case. I don't think she'd give any of it to Betty or Claire or anything, but I also didn't think she'd effing betray me like this, so it's my jewelry. She's borrowing it indefinitely. I just kind of figured I'd let her keep it until she died because it was her mom's, but it's mine. I can't trust her not to give any of it to Claire or Betty, and I don't want to have to talk to her if I decide to never speak to her again, so I'm getting it tomorrow. We both know it's mine. It's not stealing to decide not to loan it to her anymore. It means a lot to me, so I'm for sure getting it. Thank you all for your comments and advice so far. I'm going to go to bed and see what tomorrow brings me. Hopefully all my jewelry, Mrs. Snuffles, and messages from every one of my friends saying they've never speaking to Adam again because he's a bastard. They won't forgive me if I take him back, and none of them had any idea. Edited again. I'm a really bad person. I texted Betty. I hope your baby is born with Down syndrome, which will be an interesting combination with the fetal alcohol syndrome it's got a 90% chance of having since you drink more than your mother ever dreamed of drinking. And then I followed that up with a text calling her a cunt. And then another one that just said whore. Her mom died in a car crash she caused by drinking and driving, and Betty is the type of person who has expressed more than once that people with disabilities like Down syndrome should just be killed because they don't have any use and are a drain on society. I feel kind of bad, partly because it's crappy things to say to anyone, and I'm a better person than that, and partially because reading that back, I don't really think that's much of an insult or anything, really. But what do I know? I've never been pregnant. Maybe I'll make her cry. And thanks to her, I'm probably not going to be pregnant anytime soon. I turned off my phone again to keep it off. I tossed it on top of the kitchen cupboards that I can't reach without a chair, and I'm for sure going to bed now. What the F do I do? Too long didn't read. Finance effed my stepsister. She's pregnant. My mother knew and wants us all to be a big happy family because she's got grandbaby fever and always takes Betty's side. Effing Betty wrecked our shared car as teenagers, and I still had to pay half the replacement cost because it wasn't fair for just Betty to replace it. I'm well on my way to getting drunk enough to go rescue Mrs. Snuffles from her attic prison if effing Betty hasn't thrown her away. Ew, your mom? She knew for months and still let you pick the centerpieces? You are not wrong for blowing up. Update, 1 month later. I kept my relationship with Betty cool as soon as I turned 18 and moved out to college. We don't really have that sisterly bond. It's more like cousins you see at family reunions bond. We tolerate each other. She knows I think she's a spoiled brat. I know she thinks I'm a witch because I won't take crap from anyone and will call her or anyone out on their crap. Mom's the only person I cave to and allow myself to be guilted into crap and walked all over for. I am not a wallflower or welcome mat or anything. So yeah, a lot of you said to cut them all off, and if I read my post, that'd be my advice too. Like I said, I don't take crap. I completely stopped being friends with my BFF since I was 8 when I was 22 because she was staying with me for a month and kept smoking in my apartment even when I asked not to. Then got witchy when I bluntly told her she was being a jerk, and in general, I just didn't like the person she was growing into. So first, the day after my post, I went to my mom's house. No one was home and I used my key. I grabbed my jewelry and the boxes of random crap I had sitting in the attic. I looked for Mrs. Snuffles, but I couldn't find her. I searched all of the Betty boxes, and the Claire boxes too, just to be sure. I'm pretty sure their dog, at the time, destroyed her. I doubt Betty would have kept her all these years. I may or may not have cut up all of Betty's photos I found. Oops. Was that a photo of your mom? Well, I'm sure Clara has photos of her, plus you have my mom now, so you'll be fine. No, I'm not proud of that, but, well, they're sitting in the attic anyway, and much like Adam, I had a lapse in judgment. I lapsed so hard I grabbed the kitchen scissors on my way to the attic. I will admit, a month later, I feel pretty crappy I did that, but the day after I was still really raw and pissed, and yeah. When I got home, I finally checked my phone. There was a crap ton of messages from Mom, Claire, and Betty that I deleted without really reading. Even an hour afterwards, I couldn't have told you what they said, but I bet, in general, I could guess. The messages I got from my friends were really disappointing. Like I said, they were all mutual friends that have never known Adam and I separate from a couple, and most of the replies were, "We care about you both." Only a couple said he was a bastard or anything. One person, in fact, knew Adam had told his BFF like a week before he told me, and his BFF strongly encouraged him to tell me. A lot of you weren't very kind about speaking about my mother. Understandably, but she's not a narcissist, or a bad person, really. She's too kind, and when she married my stepfather, she felt really bad for my stepsisters and took it to extremes. Like I said, she was my best friend, and I had even been toying with the idea of making her my matron of honor if we decided to have a wedding versus just going to Vegas, which we were seriously considering. I met my mother for lunch at a restaurant. She was upset with me for taking my jewelry without telling her, saying I should have left a note because she just about had a heart attack when she got home and my stuff was gone. I told her she should have told me as soon as Betty left that Adam was the father of her baby. She said she hadn't wanted to get involved or in the middle, and by telling me when either Adam or Betty should have, would have meant she was involved. Plus, she was in shock that Betty had told her that and wasn't really thinking about me. I told her that happened most of the time when Betty was involved ever since we were first introduced. She tried to convince me to take Adam back, that I shouldn't waste our 10 years together. I told her that Adam was the one who chose to throw away 10 years. She did tell me that she hadn't known when she'd mommed me into co-hosting that Adam was the father, and that she and my stepfather would cover my share of the gifts and shower. I told her that I was her daughter, she gave birth to me, and I was not going to even be able to forgive Betty. So if Mom wanted to keep being my mother, she needed to pick me for once. She said she couldn't do that she had been Betty's only mother figure, and she wholly considered Betty her daughter, and she really didn't want to get involved still. That if she had given birth to all three of us, her decision would still be the same. I told her that I was very sorry to hear that, and I wished her well. I'd call her every now and then, but I was not going to see her much or attend family gatherings, nor would any children of mine know my stepfamily. She said she was sorry to hear I was deciding that, and that she hoped I'd forgive and forget eventually and not tear the family apart. I told her I was disappointed in her, but not particularly surprised, and Betty was the one who effed my fiancé and tore the family apart. Then I said goodbye, popped down my share of the bill, and left. I'll call her in a couple of months, but for now, I've got her and my stepfamily on their own ringtones, so I know to not answer them. If she insists on talking about Betty, Adam, or their baby on our phone calls, I won't speak to her until she learns to not do it. Yes, she very kindly admonished me for what I texted Betty, but I shrugged and told her that she's getting involved by telling me I shouldn't have sent that. Yes, I realized I shouldn't have sent Betty what I did, but I was pissed and had finished off a bottle of wine, and frankly, she is a cunt. As for Adam, he showed up about a few days after he told me with pizza, ice cream, and flowers. I had his stuff sitting by the door and was more than willing to have him get it and go, but he convinced me to talk to him. He confessed that while I lost my virginity to him, he had lost his to Betty a few weeks before. It felt like he'd punched me in the face. I told him if I had known that, I would have dumped his butt then, and spent the remaining 9.5 years not being held back because he didn't want to leave our city, or go on trips out of the country, or get a freaking cat. He's super allergic. Or painted my nails. He's weird about nail polish. I haven't painted mine since we started dating, seriously. I was apologetic, but he said he loved me and wanted to work on things. I told him I wasn't going to be Betty's baby stepmother, and that I wanted to live a 100% Betty-free life, and that if I were to take him back, he would have no contact with the woman he cheated on me with, which obviously wouldn't be possible if he's the kid's dad. He said that Betty told him there was a chance he wasn't the father after he told me, because, like I said, she's a cunt. I told him there was still a chance he was, though, and I wasn't going to risk it. Plus, that didn't change the fact that he'd betrayed me when we were first together and last year, and that was 2 times too many. He asked if we could still be friends, with, I'm 90% sure, the intent to win me back. I told him I'd think about it. No chance in hell of that happening. I talked to my dad. He lives across the country, and we're on great terms, even though we only saw each other during the summer when I was growing up. I really like my stepmother, but our relationship had always been a bit shadowed because, well, I was a dick and firmly pushed her away to not hurt my mom's feelings, which I'm pretty sure is some sort of weird irony. Dad offered to pay to get me out of the rest of my lease and let me live in one of his rental houses for free if I want to move to his city. I'm going to do it. I've got a buttload of savings to last me a while until I find a job. I never wanted to stay in our home city forever, and I think being 2,000 miles away from my mom and the rest of them will really help. I'm going to work on my relationship with my stepmother too. First thing I'm going to do when I see her is apologize. I quit my job and have spent the last few weeks relaxing, packing, planning, speaking to a therapist, looking at cats up for adoption in my dad's city, and reaching out to the handful of friends I have there from when I'd visit Dad in the summer. Hopefully someone will click, and I'll have at least one good friend there. I bought myself way too much nail polish, got a manicure, and a lot of money on a pair of boots I've wanted since forever, but held off on getting because, I couldn't splurge like that because I was going to get married. So everything's going to be okay, I think. Thank you to everyone who commented and PM'd me with helpful advice and sympathy. Adam showing up with pizza and ice cream like this is a bad rom-com? The audacity is almost charming if it weren't so embarrassing, and then casually mentioning he lost his virginity to Betty before you? Ugh. And your mom's, I didn't want to get involved line is the one that really says everything. Neutrality in a situation like this is still a choice. She chose the idea of keeping the family intact over protecting you from a massive betrayal. She failed you. You didn't tear the family apart. Adam did when he cheated. Betty did when she slept with her sister's fiancé. Your mom did when she chose silence. You just refused to sit quietly, and we're all here for it. If your partner got your stepsister pregnant and your mom told you to be the bigger person, what would you actually do? Thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.